Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murtibeda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Savavedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om. Excuse me. Sorry, once again, it's because when it's raining here, I have to find projects for my worker in the house, and then I get a little bit more involved. And let me. So we are seeing towards the end of the second chapter, the Brahman is the changeless consciousness, and it's available within every one of our experiences. We just we take it for granted, or we discount it, or the same thing. We see things because we see the light, but we discount the light. So we have seen these analogies before, but it remains a fact. We cannot experience anything without experiencing consciousness first. We don't experience consciousness really, because it's not an object of experience, but we experience its reflection, and that should be good enough if one managed to discriminate between the mind and a pure reflection of consciousness, and furthermore, a pure reflection of consciousness as by nature, by intrinsic nature, identical to original consciousness. So the whole concept that there is an experiential element in self-recognition, self-knowledge, is because you experience consciousness as it reflects in the subtle body. Your mind reflects, and then you experience this reflection of consciousness, and by its grace, I experience the objects. So all the time we are experiencing this consciousness as it shines as Aham. We cannot deny that. We may have a difficult to see it clearly, intellectually. But if we make a little effort, we have to agree and we say, yes, it's present, blessing all of experience I have in the awakening state and the dream state. Okay, the consciousness is living beings and the existence, and then Swami says that the Satchitananda implies that the living creatures, the so-called jivas, they enjoy this reflection of consciousness. And then the inert beings, they enjoy the reflect existence of Brahman, the only source of existence. So, and Ananda remains available in the case of the Yoni, or for the Yoni, as the understanding that this Satchitananda Brahman is the only reality, therefore it is limitless. Whole. This description is absolutely important. It's whole, it's full, and is complete. It's a whole, a partless whole. Why it's a partless whole? Because it's not a whole that, oh, you come here and then now we are together, we are the big Brahman, the absolute Brahman. No, it's one without a second. It is a partless whole because it's the only reality. So Satchitananda is the fruit of self-knowledge. Once this last element, which means non-dualness or limitlessness, oneness without a second, oneness without any parts is properly understood. And then one begins enjoying a sense that nothing can really affect, nothing can really touch me because I am alone. There is only I, conscious existence, one without a second. But this is so boring to be alone in this universe. No, because you're already full, whole, and complete. And furthermore, if you want diversity or plurality, you just enjoy this superimposition that occurs within you, the only reality, There's no problem. You don't need to get bored. You can watch even Netflix. Heaven does discriminated. We have to get out of Jiva Bhava. What is Jiva Bhava? Even though normally the word Loka means world, Shankaracharya takes this special meaning. And what does Jiva Bhava consist of? Ahamkara and Mamakara. Okay. So the fruits of self-knowledge, they manifest as we neutralize most of the sense of ahamkara, mamakara. Now, I, the individual body, mind, and my belongs, my things, my body, my son, my wife, my this, mine. So this ahamkara, mamakara must follow to a certain extent, must be diluted or neutralized to a large extent if the jiva wants to really enjoy the fruits of Atma Yanam. Reduction in ahamkara and mamakara. What is this ahamkara means? Ahamkara, as we know, is the ego, the ego that says, I have claimed the body, mind, sense complex to be my Atma. So this is what characterizes the human ego, identification with the body, mind, sense complex that is fueled by one's raga dveshans, that manifests as I and mine. And then among things that supposedly are mine, some of them I want to push away, some of them I want to hold very tight. So there are other three things that we claim as mamakara, according to Swamiji here. Our things, our possessions, and this is more culture in some areas, our professions, but only for the gihastras, well, the householders, and family as well for the householders. The sannyasis do not have the problem. The sannyasis do not have the problem of possessions and family members. They renounce these things before, but they have a few possessions. The dress they wear, for example, being one of them. For transactional purpose, you can use the words aham and mam, I and mine. At the end of the class, when you want to take the shapal, if you drop your mamakara, what will happen? You might take someone else's shapal. What is the shapal?
Those are the sandals that you leave at the door?
Yeah.
Thank you. After all, no mamakara is there. Everything is the same. So there are only sandals. It was a nice play in Ramana Maharash's ashram. Sometimes you leave your nice sandal outside, and then when you come back, it's gone. Somebody took yours and left something there. After all, no mamakara is there. Everything is the same. You should separate your sandals from others. Let aham and mama be there for the sake of transacting in the vyavaharika, but may you get out of that idea as soon as you are not transacting. And remember yourself, I don't own even this physical body. I don't own anything. None of these accessories I own, since I don't even own the body. Everything belongs to Ishvara, as we know. And how about the family? Ishvara is going to take care of your family according to the law of karma. No, it's so important. There is this tendency for those few of us, some of us who have had children, a tendency to say, an attachment to the child, oh no, I don't want anything bad to happen to my child. Oh no, it's all Ishvara. Ishvara is going to manage everything according to the law of karma. For a grihastha, the greatest obstacle for the assimilation of Vedanta is family-centered attachment, which brings about anxiety. For all grihasthas, this is one of the most hardwired kind of attachment. I'm not asking you to become a sannyasi. What I'm saying is, because you are grihastha, you have duties and responsibilities, and those may bring about some anxieties. Yeah? What will happen to my child? And this, and now he's ill. So what will happen to my granddaughter? All these anxieties regarding family are big obstacles in the process. Mine, my son, my my granddaughter, my body, my husband, my wife. Therefore, we have some special meditations practicing internally to be a sannyas. So you don't want to abandon your family to become a formal sannyas, but you can become a internal, mental, emotionally accomplished sannyasi. Family abhimana tyagaha, possession abhimana tyaga, profession, body, mind, abhimana tyagaha. Abhimana means what? Identification, obsession. Identification and obsession. In Viveka Chudamani, we saw the word obsession. And what Sanskrit word was used there? Anuchinta. Thinking. Anuchinta means thinking the same thing over and over and over again creates a certain identification, which once it is repeatedly affirmed, it brings a hardwired notion, concept, or obsession. My son, my daughter, my granddaughter. All of these things are obsessions. For doing our duty, we have to think of them. Think is different from obsession. Those are all very fine lines. No? Epsilon is going to further explain here. So this hamkara mamakara, it has to be managed. I mean, not managed. It's going to get the benefit from self-knowledge. And the benefit is the ahamkara and mamakara is going to be minimized, neutralized, diminished. And he's going to use the term diluted. And he's going to say it's almost impossible to get rid of all of that. But you need to, for you to enjoy self-knowledge extensively, this ahamkara, mamakara needs to be diluted, in his own words. Because as long as ahamkara, mamakara is strong, all the Vedantic studies may be there as knowledge, intellectual knowledge, theoretical knowledge in the mind, but that knowledge will not allow the fructification we call moksha. As we know, there is a difference between academic, objective, theoretical, intellectual knowledge from aparokshayana. So aparokshayana is what allows the fructification of the sense of freedom and independence in regards to what happens to the world and to the body-mind we use as an instrument. Knowledge will then not give the benefit. And then the person will think, so, and then what is the use of all this studying and classes? And then Swami says, well, that is the first step, as we know. But ultimately, the ahamkara, mamakara needs to be diminished big time, diluted, become minimal. There is a passage here that he gives an example. It's going to come. The problems of ahamkara, mamakara are reduced to just small, it's going to appear. Small things. So if you're not enjoying the fruits of self-knowledge, it's because your ahamkara, mamakara were not really diluted to a certain extent. And wherever aham, mama are there, there will be ragadvesha. I and mine. So what defines I, aham, body, mind as me, is basically, which brings about what is mine and what I want to accomplish and gain yet. So what defines that's our desires and fears, our ragas and veshas, our vasanas, binding vasanas. So these raga veshas should be neutralized, minimized. Otherwise, you're going to be saying, no, geez, I need this, I need that, it must happen, I need this thing to happen to me, I need to avoid that other thing. We live a life trying to control that which is uncontrollable, which is the field of Parabhada. And then Swami says, so you don't care for what happens to others. We don't care if things are happening to them according to their desires or not, but as far as this internal small area, which are my vasana load, my ragadvesha, my ahamkara, mamakara, I'm very, very, very concerned that I get exactly what I want and I avoid what I do not. Therefore, dilution of raga dvesha is a must. If we should reap the benefits of this process, the Vedantic process, which involves attending many Upanishad classes. Therefore, for moksha, ahamkara mamakara, meaning to say raga dvesha delusion, is compulsory. I'm using the word delusion because these ragas and dveshas cannot be eliminated totally, completely. So a good way to look at it is that some of it will remain more as preference, but not binding. Ragas and dveshas. It needs to be diluted. Their intensity must be also diminished. The frequency of its appearance and the time of recovery has to be diminished as well. So it cannot be completely 100% totality removed. Disturbance also cannot be eliminated. That's why a problematic mind cannot be eliminated, because ahamkara mamakara is still alive and strong, being fed by our likes and dislikes, raga dveshas. So therefore, mental disturbance, I don't know how, nobody knows how to address mental disturbance. They go for psychologists and they do all kinds of therapies. They want to resolve the problematic mind and converting it into a peaceful mind. But as we know, it's impossible without addressing the root cause of the problem. The problematic mind, the suffering mind, is due to what? To ahamkara mamakara. I want what I want, when I want, the way I want. And what's mine is mine. Dilution will result in FIR reduction, the frequency of disturbance, the intensity, as we know, and recovery period. All of that is going to be reduced. And that's all there is to self-knowledge and moksha. And then people, oh, that's not much. So it does not seem to be worth the struggle. Just a reduction in FIR, yeah, that's all there is to it. Which is referred to as jivan mukti anubhaya. As even you dilute them, you will enjoy jivan mukti. Even you dilute them, you will enjoy jivan mukti. That means things are okay regardless. And then he says, this is a nice analogy. The problems you will experience will be reduced to a pinpricks, just a little, a little pinpricks in life. All these will be there if you become a jivan mukti. Very nicely put. What do you think? Is it worth it? Huh, Sylvia?
Yes.
Once the Parabhada is over, we do not say Yanni will die, because Yanni has claimed his timeless, birthless, deathless nature in Brahman as Brahman. Yanni does not have a death because Yanni does not have a birth. But make no mistake, his body is going to fall like all other bodies. And the scriptures, our scriptures does put this as once the Parabada was exhausted. There are many passages in our text that says for the Jivan Mukti, the Yani, the body will fall when his or her Parabada was done. Parabada is over, it's finished. You do not need anymore. And then the body falls. And in the case of Yani, not only the physical, this is very beautiful, not only the physical body falls, but the physical body losing its sense of identification with the limited I, aham, body, mind, as me, the individuality, I am this body-mind complex, also causal, subtle, and physical body, all packed up in a single entity. As we go about claiming our birthless, limitless, actionless nature, so the identification with these three bodies go on becoming looser and looser and looser. And then what happens when the body, physical body falls? So it happens that there is a party going on. The physical body, the subtle body will say, hey, hallelujah, hallelujah, I'm no longer, hooked and imprisoned in a physical body. And then the physical body say, yes, go and just, forget about this prison here. And then the causal body look down and says to the subtle body, hey, come on, merge yourself into me as well. And then the whole thing folds back, the physical is dismantled, the subtle body loses its identity as an individual entity. And the causal body pulls everything within itself, and the causal body is going to merge in Karana Shariram, the causal body. The subtle cause merges into Karana Shariram, and Karana Shariram merges into Brahman, consciousness of limitless nature. But let's follow the wording of Swami Paramarthananda because it's very beautiful. The physical body falls, it merges into Virat. Sukshma Shahira also will merge into what? Hiranyagarbha. So the physical body, it goes back to the elements, and now there is only what? Virat, which is Ishvara, manifest as a totality of all names, colors, and forms of the cosmos. Sukshma Shahira, the subtle body, will merge into the Hiranyagarbha, which is the mind of Ishvara, collect the totality, the mental, macro mind of Ishvara. And Karana Shahira, the causal body will merge into what? Samastik Karana Shahira, called Antaryami. Thus, Yani becomes one with Virat first, Hiranyagarbha, and then with Antarayamic, which is, I believe, another name for Brahman. All this put together is called Ishvara. Yani becomes Ishvara from the standpoint of the Upadi. From the standpoint of Atma, Yani becomes what? He does not become anything. He will continue to be just as the pot space will be renamed as total space. Pot space does not become total space because there was no real pot space. There was only space, period. the dissolution, disillusion and dissolution of this sense of identity, which is characterized by my likes and dislikes, my life history, and so on. So all of that goes dissolving. And then once we understand that there is only space, there is only conscious existence, and I am that, everything is that. And then one is free. One is free from what? From identification with namarupas or instruments of experience. And, and claiming one's true nature is that which is before and beyond all configuration of the gunas. I am the total space. My pot broke down, the space within the pot was released and merged into the total space, the ocean of consciousness, and now I'm free. Similarly, Yani, Jivatma, will be the Paramatma after the death. Therefore, it said, amr.tam bhavanti. It said that the Yani becomes immortal because it simply is immortal in its intrinsic real nature. So there is another title given to Yani once the Yani leaves one's physical body, which is called Videha Mukta. It is a Jiva Mukta, while it's still yet associated with the physical body. And then once it loses the subtle body, the physical body, because it broke down, we need to disidentify with the physical body before it breaks down. And then once it breaks down, you have to be very clear that you are not the subtle body. You are abandoning your identification with these two levels, physical, subtle, and then the causal body that field of Ananda as well. You have to disidentify so that you can claim your true nature as Videha Mukta. Videha Mukta is more like there's no entity when Videha Mukta takes. It's just a title that's given in anticipation once one dissolves in the ocean of Brahman as Brahman. There is only Brahman. Videha Mukta is just a technical name given to one once the river dissolves into the ocean. There is only ocean. From the standpoint of the river, before it merges into the ocean, we can say, oh, you're going to enjoy Videha Mukta. Yeah? But no, you're going to enjoy your true nature as the ocean. With this, the important second chapter is finished. Over, in fact, with the first two chapters, the central teaching is over. The next two chapters deal with some important aligned subjects on Vedanta, which we'll see now, right here, right now. In the fifth mantra, which we complete in the last class right now, which if a man knows Atma here, he then attains the true goal of life. If he does not know it here where? In this Vyavaharika. Great destruction waits for him. Which destruction? Destruction of the Atma, because he has superimposed the physical body into the Atma, and then he feels like I'm losing my existence. Having realized the immortal self in every being, the Yani leaves behind the world and claiming its true nature as immortality, timeless. So Swami gives us a little recap here. Optimal Brahman has been clearly revealed by pointing out that Brahman is not an object at all. And if it's not an object, it's not known as an object, and it's not unknown as an object, because it's not an object, period. Object may be known or unknown, but Brahman, being not an object, is not available as a known or unknown thing. Therefore, it's not an object, it's not a thing. So Brahman has to be claimed in the form of the subject by true nature. Even while claiming Aham Brahmasmi, we should remember the meaning of the word I. I should not be the Ahamkara with its Mamakaras. It should refer only to I, the formless consciousness. When we do that, we must exclude, we should never transfer, the sense of identification with the three bodies to my true nature as formless Brahman. Formless Brahman is attributeless. No attributes I can take with me. Oh, but I am a great enlightened one now. Don't take that with you when you claim Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, when you claim your true nature, remember, excluding the body, the mind, the sense organs, the causal body, everything, we need to shed all of them. And what should be retained with this claiming? The unobjectable consciousness, which is the subject Brahman. The unobjectable, objectifiable, formless consciousness. That is what is left. What's left is a mystery. We cannot say it is this or that, because there is no qualities or properties or attributes to define what it is. It's a mystery. But we enjoy this mystery, especially after we recognize that this mystery is what we are. After we remove or reject all the layers of, identification with the gunas of Maya, layers and layers, of attributes of Maya, from the denser physical body to the most subtle, such as wonderful states of mind, we just reject all those layers. The 5 koshas is a good picture. And I just claim consciousness free from all those layers of superimposition. No transfer is allowed. I am the consciousness attributeless Brahman. This is the most abstract form of teaching. Very, very rare individuals grasp it and understand it. Therefore, naturally, all the students may not be able to grasp such a profound, subtle, and abstract teachings. It requires a very purified, refined, and subtle intellect. A very subtle intellect. Sukshma buddhi. Even a subtle intellect will be able to grasp now only, but only after years and years, if not lifetimes of Shravana and Manana. Even very subtle intellects may have to go through a certain period of time until this teaching can be fully understood. That's why we do not confine to one Upanishad, Swami says, we take several Upanishads because in each Upanishad, the grasping gradually increases, the understanding gradually increases, the picture, the darshana, seeing the world from this perspective of aham brahmasmi, I am Satya, this world is mithya. It's a growing darshana. It's a picture, it's a vision that goes on growing as we tap into more and more texts with the help of a teacher. Even a very subtle intellect itself requires lots of shravananas and mananas. And if we consider that some intellects are not very subtle, but it's a more gross, such a gross intellect will not even participate in such a class. Or if they participate, the teachings, they are just washed out as they come in. Because it's too abstract and subtle for a grosser intellect. Therefore, the Upanishad wants to consider this student as well. These students less privileged. They call the Stula Buddhayaha or Manda Buddhayaha, gross intellect. And for them also the Upanishad wants to cater. So the following two chapters are for more dense, gross intellectual minds, okay, people. First two chapters are meant for what? For the subtler, more refined, more purified intellects. The last two chapters are meant for more gross, dense, or how you say? Senior and junior students. Junior students that must stay with Karma Yoga and Dharma Yoga. I'm realizing lately that even to find someone qualified for Karma Yoga is very rare. Because of ahamkara mamakara. The last two chapters are meant for people with less refined, less subtle intellects. So who are these people? And then, so I mean, just don't ask me because I'm not going to tell my opinion to anyone. Otherwise, you're going to be tripped. Oh, Swamiji looked at me. Maybe he was meaning to say that I have a very subtle and purified intellect. Oh, he did not look to me, and then it means that I have a gross intellect. And it's I'm closing my eyes and I'm not looking at anyone to avoid this problem. But you and you alone have to decide. You are very subtle intellectual, sukshma body. If the first two chapters were clearly understood, the message conveyed was assimilated, properly received. No? Received. At least I can understand it clearly. Don't bother about internalization, okay? Leave it for later. That is nididhyasana. But now we want to know who is going to be able to grasp this message. If the message was grasped, we have good subtle bodies, good intellects. Otherwise, we can just forget about it. The Upanishad gives the following two chapters, the third and the fourth, to prepare the mind through several sadhanas, how compassionate, through several sadhanas in the form of karma, in the form of upasana, in the form of dharma, values and virtues. Moral virtues are also considered to be an integral part of the Vedantic study, the Gita. All of them are going to be disclosed hereafter. Very interesting, this structure. Huh? The first, the most profound, and then the Upanishad says, okay, now, if you haven't really understood it clearly, so we have more for you. It's going to help you to qualify. With this fifth sloka, the primary teaching is over. The fruits also has been mentioned. Ahamkara mamakara reduction, or dilution. The more diluted this four are, the stronger becomes your conviction of self-knowledge. Ahamkara mamakara raga devasha, delusion. The stronger the knowledge, the more intense, the more available is your sense of freedom. This Jiva Mukti is the only benefit there is to it. And after death, Videha Mukta, or freedom from future incarnations, is the final benefit desired by very rare individuals. Freedom from reincarnation. And the Upanishad says this difficult, rare, and life-fulfilling knowledge is possible only as a human being in this sort of duality. Some people, they believe that, oh no, I'm going to go to this dimension, that dimension, there it's going to be easier to get self-knowledge. And even the Vedas talk about going to the Vedas, as we have seen, they say that there are only two lokas that we can have this knowledge. One is this one, and the other is Brahmaloka. But they say to reach Brahmaloka is almost impossible. You remember, Mark?
Yes, I do remember. Yeah.
Therefore,
Might as well use the energy that we would use getting to Brahmaloka to study Vedanta in this Janma.
Yeah.
Rather than put lots of energy into going to Brahmaloka, use it here to study Vedanta.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You need a human birth. Birth where? In here. Huh? In this physical, dense, difficult duality, as it appears to be now. Human birth is possible. There are 8,400 of other hundred thousands of species. Remember, many species are there. Among them, there is the human beings. Make use of this rare opportunity. And that too, we are growing old and not young, even though we may struggle with plastic surgery and other things to appear young. But we are going old only. That's with Manusya, Yana, Prasamsa, with glorification of the human birth. The Upanishad concludes the second chapter, again, yeah, glorifying this opportunity. Now we have to enter the third chapter of Kenopanishad. So the first chapter on the first verse on the chapter 3 says, Brahman, according to the story, obtained a victory for the gods, and by that victory of Brahman, the gods became elated. They said to themselves, verily, this victory is ours. Verily, this glory is ours. Verily, this glory is ours only. So Swami says that this is a Upanishad story but it was not a Vedantic story or Vedic story that in this Upanishad is not completely explained, but he will help us. It's a famous story among the Upanishad circles, Upanishad systems. And through this story, the Upanishad wants to convey several messages related to this Vedantic process. The story is not meant just for telling a story, for entertainment, because Upanishad students are serious people. They don't come to a class only for entertainment. Therefore, superficially, it's a story, but it's a teaching. Several important messages are present in this story. The messages are not mentioned here in this Upanishad, but Shankaracharya, he always comes to help us, to rescue us, and he wrote several commentaries, relevant message connect to this story. To understand the sixth message, which were the commentaries of Shankaracharya, we should know the outline of the story. I mean, who does not like a nice, good story, especially if it is, infused with Vedantic knowledge? Therefore, first I would present the story with bare minimum information. Then, as we go through the verses, I will present the details of the story. What is the story? Devanam Garva Bangaha, pricking the pride bubble of the devas, is the story. In other words, it seems that the gods won an incredible, beautiful battle against the asuras, and they became arrogant. Vanity and pride came, and then somehow Ishvara had to present these lessons. The Upanishad says that devas and asuras go into battle or wars at regular intervals because they are arch rivals. They have several such wars. Sometimes deva win, sometimes asuras win. Generally, devas win most of the times because they are satvika, devatahs, and they win because the preservation of dharma is absolutely necessary. Therefore, they have the support of Ishvara's blessing. Ishvara bless those who try to preserve the dharma. And they go through one such battle, and devas win victory over the asuras. They wanted to celebrate this victory as a victory day, and you might imagine what a party. It's not just any other drink. They might have had a real party. Each deva was claiming the victory is because of me. No, I was the most relevant factor to win this victory. So they start debating that who is going to take the most credit for the victory. Oh, no, it's me because I killed thousands of asuras. Everyone was feeling proud and trying to claim the glory. It's natural to individuals, and as we know, the devas, the devatahs, they are not really self-realized. They are just still under the spell of Maya. But they have done so much pujas and tapas and sadhanas that they developed certain powers. They were adored by the jivas, and they were designated as the protectors of Dharma by the great creator Ishvara, but yet they are subject to these problems. He says, in generally, generally the devas, they became devas because they developed humility among other qualifications such as vairagya and the good degree of understanding of what the Dharma and the importance of Dharma. They don't have self-knowledge, but they are very pure entities. So generally, they have a certain humility, but temporarily, because of this fundamental ajnana, this fundamental self-ignorance that still dominates the mind of the devas, he is not really free from this video. They get into developing arrogance and pride. And when they have this pride, Ishvara thought, I have to destroy all these devas as well. Or I have to destroy the pride, most probably. Bhagwan means, Bhangaha means what? Destruction. Destruction of pride. Yeah. Okay. It's like breaking the balloon of pride. We say that when the ego comes and it starts blowing itself, and then an event of life comes and then poof, and then the ego shrinks, and you go from one stream to another, to a very, very huge, high self-esteem to a low self-esteem. Breaking the bubble. And then they were celebrating like this, just, how to say? When you're all the time talking good about yourself, there is a word that I forgot. Bragging. Yeah, bragging about themselves. So what did Lord do? They were celebrating, bragging about themselves. Ishvara appeared in front of them and in the form of a brilliant apparition or a brilliant form called Yaksha in the Upanishad. This Yaksha is not one of the celestial beings like many others. This Yaksha here is Ishvara Avatara. So it appears as one of the closest, most intimate avatara. I never heard this avatara called Yaksha. In fact, Dayananda Swamiji says this is the first reference to avatara of Ishvara in the entire Veda. The first mention of avatara came from this Upanishad. Based on Yaksha avatara only, in the Puranas we have expanded versions of several avatars. The seed of all the avatars comes from Yaksha avatara, which was presented in the Kenopanishad. Beautiful, huh? Bhagwan appeared in such a place that was neither too far away nor too close. It was close enough for all the devas not to miss his avatara form, which was too brilliant and too divine. The very word Yakasha is derived from the root Yaja Pujayam. Therefore, while they were celebrating, their attention was drawn to Yakasha. They knew it was brilliant and divine, but they did not know what exactly it was and why it was there. Mystery, if there is something which you do not know, we are always curious, wanting to know. They call it rubber neck. What is rubber neck? Have you heard about rubber neck? You have heard of rubber neck? It means extending the neck. Ah, you just say, what? What? All of them were doing rubbernecking to find out what the heck is going on. What is this yaksha brilliant entity? But they could not find out. Indra, the leader of all devas, was there as well. The devas could not accept their ignorance in respect to yaksha. They had so much knowledge, and that gave them a sense of all-knowingness. How can there be something which I cannot identify and know? Therefore, Indra decided to send a representative to explore and find out the identity of the divine and brilliant Yakasha. He sent Yani Deva to go there because Agni Deva to go there because Agni is the messenger of all devatahs. Even when we offer oblations, we do not directly give to devatahs, we give to Agni. There is so much beautiful symbolism behind all the rituals and pujas, that I would say, it would be nice to understand at least a little bit of it, In our culture, says Swamiji, we offer Agni, oblations to Agni only, because it's the messenger. Therefore, Agni being devataha, devataha.
Devataha means like an envoy.
Okay, yeah, the messenger, And then Agni, which is the messenger, he just goes into that mission. He is supposed to be omniscient, and therefore he himself as well was very proud to take on that mission. So the story is so wonderful that we would maybe feel like not stopping, but we better stop here. And we meet again tomorrow to see where this beautiful story is going to take us, because we want to enjoy the story because it's much better than Netflix. There is almost nothing good in Netflix anymore. But on top of that, the story here contains wisdom, and we want to get that most of everything. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Wow, Jesus Upanishad, as it goes on, I'm more and more appreciative of this Kenopanishad. I'm looking forward. We meet again tomorrow. Namaste.
Brilliant. Thank you, Arlinda. God bless.
God bless.